Hello and welcome to another edition of the Get Growing Weekly Work Session with GetOiling. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of GetOiling, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, really glad you're here today.
We also are excited to have Julie with us today. Hey, Julie.
Hi, everyone.
So today we are kicking off week 4. We're closing out rather week 4 of the brand partner pipeline. This is a 4-part series where we have been exploring the entire process from starting a conversation with someone whom you would like to share your living with, all the way through to making sure they have the best experience possible, fall in love with product, and hopefully feel inspired to start sharing themselves. So we're going to be talking about the very critical stage past the point of saying, yes, I'm going to sign up, and of course, getting them onto product, using product, and then excited about sharing. So we've got a lot to get into today. I've got some slides prepared for you. And of course, we are here as always to help you live on this call. This is not just an opportunity to learn, it is an opportunity to work together. So if you came here looking for help, please don't hesitate to go ahead and add your questions into the Q&A. Say hello, let us know where you're coming in from. We always have such incredible people here in this community from around the world joining us, and we're thrilled to have you here with us this week. We're going to pop out a video so that we can get into today's content. We've got quite a bit of that to cover here today. So again, welcome. Really thrilled to have you. Today, we are on part 4. This is the brand partner pipeline. This is how you get your customers started as long-term customers. This is how you, excuse me, initiate that process to getting customers long-term. So today, we're going to do a recap of what we've covered so far. We'll talk about our resources, and then we will talk about this week's content. So our new customer process. Our part 4 is focusing on getting your new customer started right. That's their initial checklist. And then what you're going to be doing with them for the first 90 days and onward. And then as always, we do have live help available on this call. So if you are here live, be sure to head over to the Q&A and add your questions if you've got them, whether they have to do with today's subject or not. If you're watching this as a replay, I hope you'll come and join us and work with us together live. You can go to getoiling.com/weekly work session to join our live calls. We're live every Thursday at noon US Eastern Time. Now, if you would like to have us set aside dedicated space for what you need help with, we can do that on a call just like this one. GetOiling.com/website review is where you're going to want to go. You don't have to have a website set up for us to review. It's simply a place where you can have that as an option, or we could even just talk through what it looks like for you to get started, or maybe work with leader tools, etc., on a call like this. And if you would like to have someone just do some of this work for you, that is an option as well. If you want a website set up for you, if you want to have backend systems, figuring out your newsletter design, all of that kind of great stuff, our team is super talented with, and they would love to help you. Go to getoiling.com/concierge to learn more about our team and set up a no obligation call. So let's go recap our brand partner pipeline up to this point. We began with relationship building, where we're having conversation, getting to know someone better, more about their goals, their daily life. And then at some point, they share with us something that they are struggling with. That's where we make a consultative shift to potentially offer them something to help them solve a problem or reach a goal. From there, we have our sharing to sign up phase, where of course we are sharing because they said yes, and then signing them up if they say yes to Young Living. And then once they say yes to Young Living, we are entering our final phase of our pipeline. That's our new customer phase, where we're going to go over a checklist that we do initially until they have product in hand, and then our first 90 days, how we get someone started on product in such a way that they stick around long term, and ideally are so excited about their results that they want to share Young Living too. So this pipeline in action is as follows. We've got relationship building. This is where, again, we're having those conversations. We get to that point of disclosure where we make a consultative shift and offer to help them solve a problem. And then we get into sharing and closing. And of course, we then move into signing up. So this whole process we are achieving with something in GetOiling called follow-up plans. So at each of these stages, you'll notice as we've gone through all of this, none of this is automated. And none of it should be automated. These are actually the most important actions you need to be taking in your business that you cannot automate, that you cannot outsource, these are the places where you most need to show up. You can automate and outsource everything else. Okay, so these are the most important things you can be doing in your business. These are your income producing activities, right? Getting into those conversations, making the offer to share Young Living, sharing Young Living, and then getting someone signed up, right? So we have a lot of to-dos that we need to manage, and we've got to do this with lots of people all at the same time. And that can be a lot to try to keep track of, right? So we use something called follow-up plans and GetOiling, which basically allows you to have a to-do list that you use with anyone at any point in time. So if you have the same to-do list, you might be on step 3 with one person, but on step 17 with another, and you don't have to remember that because the system remembers it for you. And of course, because this is a fluid process, not everybody moves ahead at the same pace or even necessarily completes a phase of this pipeline. We need to manage this pipeline, and we're doing that with automations. That means if somebody maybe doesn't quite get to a yes for sharing, we want to go back to continuing our relationship building, and automations will remove the to-dos that we don't need anymore so that we're only focusing on what we need to do with that person right now. So the resource that we've provided, you have this in your email. And of course, if you've been attending these calls over the last 4 weeks, you should have access to this resource. I hope that you have already grabbed it. And then, of course, if you are behind on any of these, we do have a special playlist now on our GetOiling YouTube channel where you can watch this 4-part series to its completion and follow along with all of these resources. So the pipeline stages, just to give a reminder here, is our relationship building. That's where we're chatting up to the point of disclosure. The consultative shift, where they share a pain point with us and we go back and invite them to check out a solution. When they say yes to seeing what you have to say, we then enter the sharing to sign up phase, which is the process, of course, of sharing Young Living and then getting a yes and signing them up for product. Then we have our new customer checklist where we begin today. And this will go up to the point where they have their product in hand, when they have received their order. Then we will enter our first 90 days where we're going to be focusing on helping them find their hero product, right? We're going to be getting into those last 2 things today. So this is what it looks like from a visual sense, right? So we have a series of triggers, so things that happen in our conversations or happen in our relationship, and then the pipeline stages that correlate to them. Remember, our goals throughout this process are not just to sell product and increase our PV. We actually accomplish those things by having first mutually fulfilling conversations and relationships with tons of people. We are listening more than we speak so that we can show up effectively in those friendships. And we want to be able to, because we're listening closely, understand where the right opportunity exists to show up and offer to be of service. And then when you get a yes to hearing what you have to say, you share with them in such a way that the other person is not just buying in on trying an oil, they're buying in on making a life change. And with you being a guide to help them do it, right? And then ultimately, once they have opened that door to working with you to make that change in their life, we want them to fall in love with a product that they never want to be without. Okay, so let's put this to work. We have, in the first week, we covered our relationship building, where that conversation begins. After that point of disclosure, they share a pain point. We move into the consultative shift. And then we invite them to check out some resources, tools, et cetera, that can help them to solve that problem that they have. That's our sharing to sign up phase. And then once they are signed up and that order is placed, we're moving into our next phase. So what would it look like for you? You're here on the call today. Let me know in the chat. If you were to think about the percentage of folks that you have shared with who have bought something, how many of them have stuck around for more than 2 years? Or maybe more than a year or more than 6 months? What does that look like for you? What does retention look like for you in your business? And how important do you feel it is to create loyalty? Right? Not as many as I'd like. Yep, definitely. I mean, ideally, we want everybody to fall in love with product. And to some degree, this is going to be a numbers game. Some will, some won't. And we need to be okay with that. But we want to make sure that we're creating the best opportunity possible for people to have that outcome, for them to see what you see. right? That's because you've been around Young Living for probably a while at this point, right? You want them to see what you see for themselves. So if you want to create loyal customers, what happens next when we're signing them up, when we are getting them started, when they're first getting their product? This is so critical because we have the opportunity in the beginning here that we can certainly try to recreate later down the road, but this is a fantastic opportunity for us to engage in the beginning to create the outcomes that we're looking for. So just to recap at this point, we've already noted a specific goal or pain point or problem that our person, our now about to be new customer, is motivated to achieve or fix or solve. And we've invited them to check out some information to help them realize those outcomes, to achieve that goal, fix that problem, solve that problem. And they agreed to check that information out. We've shared with them what's possible for them. We've given them social proof of how these products can work. And we might have ideally even shared with them a handful of products or protocols that could be helpful to them. And then, of course, at this point, we have gotten a yes. They said, sure, yes, let's do this. I would like to start getting better sleep so that I'm less stressed out at work, right? I would like to lose 25 pounds because I want to have a revenge body, whatever that is for your person. They have a reason. You have identified it. You have shown them a path where it is achievable for them. They're saying yes to getting started to achieve that goal with you helping them. Okay. So if you have these things in place, then committing to a monthly subscription is a given. If this is the frame of reference that we've started with, I need to get better sleep because this is impacting my work life or my relationship with my spouse. I need to lose this weight because my doctor warned me that there are risky things down the road for me, right? You've identified something that's really important to them. And you have ideally also communicated to them that this is going to be a process, right? There's no magic bullet. We're not selling snake oil here. We're actually selling real solutions, but they've got to be committed to working on getting those things solved. But the good news is they've got you. You have their back, right? So if you have those things in place, it is actually really easy to get somebody signed up with commitment, right? Because they're not just trying product. They are working together with you to solve a problem, right? If we're reframing that from the outset, not as a, hey, you should really try this thing that I like, we're saying, hey, here's a way you could solve this problem. This person was able to solve it. Why don't we get that result for you? Here's what you need to do, right? It's you shifting into a different posture where you're leading this conversation. You're not following their lead. You're leading this conversation because you're the one who has access to the tools, to the resources, to the products that are going to be able to change their life if they use them in the way that are recommended, right? So come prepared when you are sharing for that best possible outcome. And that includes their full commitment. Assume that they are committed because they told you what they wanted, right? If they really want that, then they know that they can't just take a pill or rub an oil on themselves and it's just going to be better, right? They are going to have to put a little work in and they're committed and they're going to work with you to get it done, right? So come prepared with plenty of product to recommend, right? I had mentioned previously, at least 250 PV. You want to come prepared to share that fits what their goal is, because it's easier to remove than it is to try to sell someone at the last minute, right? Now, it is great to maybe reference the gift with purchase when you're in that process, but it is almost too late to try to recommend more product after you're already in the cart, right? You want to come to them in your presentation with recommendations, right? And then you can get them started with the full amount of those things. Or of course, if they want to maybe try some things later, you could do that as well. So what you want to do is help them set up their loyalty order when you are signing them up. So assume and expect a minimum of 100 PV. Again, have that list of at least 250 PV handy. And then let them be on Zoom or be sitting next to them on a computer, a phone, what have you. Let them do the searching, typing, and clicking. Be patient. be there with them. I understand you could get this done very quickly, but we want to create a circumstance where somebody feels confident because they've done this themselves. And this is our first opportunity to create independence in our relationship with our customer. We do want our customer to fall in love with product and to work alongside us, with us. We want to assist them, but we don't want to do for them. So make sure that you are not the one inputting everything, or you're going to create a culture of dependence on you doing this work. Okay. So as they are adding these things to cart, now if you use maybe a wish list link, then maybe all of these things get added to cart immediately, right? That's a great tool to use to maybe have a wish list so that they can automatically put all of those things into their cart. But as maybe you're building the cart with them, you can certainly point out that gift with purchase meter or any of the free items that are showing up in the cart. Maybe let them know, oh, hey, look, this is so cool. You're already going to be getting this thing for free, and mention something about it if you want to. So you can say a few words about those gift with purchase products. They're value adds. They're not the reason to spend more money, right? They're the reward for what you've chosen to do for yourself, right? So don't think about your gift with purchase products as a reason for someone to spend more money. You need to have them thinking that their reason to spend more money to get that 250, 300 PV, et cetera, is because there's a list of things they need to solve their problem, right? And they're on a problem solving mission. Right? So make sure that you're looking at that loyalty order together, make your recommendations on frequencies, right? And then also let them know, because you are going to still be spending a good deal more time with this person. We can spend time on this later, right? So, you can go in and, say, oh, I want this one every 1 month, every 2 months, et cetera. Just go ahead and make sure you got the first one set up, because you're going to be meeting on a weekly basis anyway. Okay. So make sure that you've got at least the first one set up and submit that order. Now, the next thing we want to do, and we want to do this immediately, is get them connected with resources. And when I say immediately, this is in the same meeting. You are still in the same physical space, or you're on Zoom together, or you're on the phone together, or whatever that looks like, right? So we're going to connect them with resources next. So have them go and open their email so that they can find their confirmation email from Young Living. All right. That's the first thing. You want to make sure, like, was there an error in the email address, right? Just make sure that they've got the email from Young Living. And then make sure while you're there, go ahead and tell them to add Young Living to their contacts or to their safe senders list, so that Young Living's emails don't go to their promotions or their spam. You want them to see the promotions that Young Living sends out. That is going to be an excellent move to get them connected with Young Living directly long-term. They need a relationship with the company, just like you have one, right? You are a conduit, but that is, for lack of a better term, an umbilical cord, right? It's not going to be there forever. So we do want to start creating that more of that attachment to Young Living directly for them. Have them go ahead and bookmark their Young Living link for their market in case they want to share, or maybe specifically in case they want to order. So, if you just go to youngliving.com, it's going to take you straight to, pick your country, take them to their country link, and then have them bookmark that link, right? So it's just easy for them to go straight to Young Living right away and place their order, sign in, et cetera. Then make sure that they have signed up for your updates, right? Subscribe to your list for your updates if you're sending newsletters. If you are not, and someone in your upline is doing a good job of this, have them subscribe to the person in your upline, right? If you don't have a vault, but your upline does, add them to your upline's vault, show them how to do that. Or if it's a Facebook group, in any case, whether it's yours or an upline's, go ahead and connect them to the newsletters, as well as the groups that you want them to connect to. If you don't have these things in place yet, you don't have to go make them. I would say if you are up to the point of, I would say gold might be the point, like you should still probably just be pointing to leaders that are doing this in your team, right? Leverage leadership, because that's social proof that this stuff works. They need to be seeing that this is working for more than just you, right? That's a psychological benefit. So you don't need to have everything done in order to do this. Of course, if they have subscribed to you, make sure that they open their email, just like they did for Young Living, add you to contacts and safe senders so you don't wind up in their spam or their promotions folder. have them bookmark any groups that you've added them to, and then show them where they can find relevant info. So just show them really quickly, hey, this is where you can find information on X, Y, or Z things inside of these resources, right? And then introduce them, right? If you put them into a social space, give them an introduction. And then don't leave empty-handed, whether you're in person or virtual, from when you're signing them up. If they signed up in person, give them something to take away. Come to that in-person meeting with a sample, with literature, with something they can walk away with. Ningxia samples, doesn't matter. Give them something to interact with. Because it's going to be some time typically before they receive their product. We want something that they can hold, that they walk away with, that's going to make them feel better about the decision that they just made. Now, if they signed up virtually, go ahead and connect them with a couple of links to educational information that's relevant to their goals and the order that they just placed. Okay. If this is inside your vault, that's a bonus because you're now kind of helping them to create a habit of finding information themselves inside of the resources that you've provided to them. And then finally, bam, fam, book a meeting from a meeting. Never, ever, ever leave a meeting without knowing when you're meeting again. So if they just placed their order, set it up for 1 week to 10 days from now. And that's that meeting that you're going to book a meeting from a meeting. Within the next week, go ahead and set up that meeting. Connie, great question. If you're doing flip kits and you're having them walk away with the starter kit and that's what they signed up for, that's fantastic. You can just go ahead and set this meeting potentially a little bit sooner, right? They're probably going to have ordered additional product though. And you want to make sure with the next steps that we are setting up our meeting, not just to show them what they bought, but to show them how to use what they bought to get the result that they want. Right? So if they just place their order, or even if, again, you have a flip kit, set that meeting up for within the next week, and then you'll be touching base with them anyway. And you can adjust that meeting date based on when we know the order will arrive and they're able to meet with you. Depending on where you are, orders and what they ordered, orders can arrive really quickly, or sometimes they can be 10, 11, 12 days, again, depending on the products they ordered and how far they are away from metro centers. So listen, they committed to working with you. So now it's time to hold them to it and get the results that they want, right? They're going to be working alongside you to get the results that they want with the products they said yes to. So don't forget, at this point, really critical, because you need to be able to show up effectively for them in your subsequent meetings. Every time you connect with them, you want to make sure that you are adding notes to your contact manager. Find that person in the contact manager and add notes throughout this process, because the next time you speak with them, you want to have referenced whatever you talked about before, whatever happened previously, so that you can make sure you're on top of this, helping them get the goal that they are looking to get. All right, so let's talk about this. These are our resources for this week for our final phase of this process. The new customer checklist is our second to last pipeline phase. This is where we apply this is when someone has signed up and placed their order. So at that point, we're applying our new customer checklist. This is going to last this phase up until they have product in hand. All right, so the new customer checklist, we're going to make sure, and this is again, it's at the point of sign up and right after. So we're going to set up that loyalty order with a minimum of 100 PV, add them to those customer resources, confirm that they are subscribed to any newsletters, and then connect them with a couple of targeted learning resources that are relevant to the products they purchased, to the goals that they have, set up their walkthrough appointment, right? And that's going to be our kickoff call. So we're going to be walking through what they have and walking through the plan that you have to use the products that they've purchased. And of course, add notes to your system. We want to tag them in a welcome post in the community. And then we want to have them check to see if their order is received, or maybe you can adjust the meeting time if necessary, right? So in this first week, we're going to be connecting with them and making sure that they've got these resources, that they're, subscribed, getting all this information. And then you could just pop in and say, hey, did you, have you seen any updates on shipping? Let me know when you what's the best day for you, right? So that BAM fam, you did go ahead and set up that walkthrough appointment, but it's tentative, right? So that's going to be based on when they receive their product and the soonest they can sit down with you after that product is received. All right. So you can adjust that meeting time if necessary. And then once their product is in hand, we're going to add that first 90 days automation. That's the next and final automation that you'll use in this pipeline. All right. So once they have their product in hand, it's time to become the hero product matchmaker. Let's talk about hero products. We know what a hero product is, right? What's yours? Let me know in the chat. Everybody share in the chat what product from Young Living could you just absolutely never be without? You will never run out of this product for the rest of your life. This is a game changer for you. What is that for you? We've got a Ningxia, yes, longevity, Pro Plus and Ningxia, awesome, awesome. So think about all the way back, Daijai's, oh my gosh, that one is a game changer for so many, Gail. So think back to when you discovered that. There was a thing that happened, right? It could have happened for you. It could have happened for someone else. I remember a Daijai story. We were out visiting friends, and my friend's husband said that he had some heartburn, and he looked at me funny when I handed him this little roller bottle. I was like, "Hey, bud, just put this on your belly." And he was like, "Okay, whatever." Like, he just kind of rolled his eyes, and he came back about 30 minutes later and was like, "Hey, where do I get more of that?" Right? So that's a story, right? That is a thing you always want to have on hand, whether it be for you or for someone else. But most importantly, you probably have one first, right? The one that wowed me first was Sleep Essence. I was going through a period of thyroid struggles, and I was not sleeping well. It was too difficult getting to sleep. I tried that for the first time. Oh my God. Yeah, right. So you have a long list. Karen, we want more people to wind up like you, where they have a long list. But what we have to do first is find the first one. There's always a first one that sends the dominoes falling for you, right? In the direction of, okay, yep, can't live without that. That's always got to be in stock for me, right? So we want everyone that we expose Young Living to find at least one product that they're in love with, that they never want to be without. And then ideally, we want them to have many more, right? Okay, so finding our hero product. The way that we do this first is to know the why or the goal and work with them toward reaching that why, that goal, right? And keep notes throughout this process. You have to be listening for this, and you have to be asking questions about how they're using product, what's happening differently for them, tracking metrics that you've agreed on, right? So if they are, if their goal is to lose 25 pounds, you've made a few recommendations as to what products they ought to be using. And you're going to be following up on a consistent basis to make sure that they're using those products, and you're hearing back from them about what they love, what they don't, and so on, right? All right. So the next thing that I want to make sure that we are clear on is that we are thinking of ourselves as a coach in their first 90 days. We are coaching them in their first 90 days. You want to be aware, be in touch on a consistent basis. If you do this right, you're building habits with them that will set them up to be a customer or life, right? So follow the engagement flow I'm going to be talking about here and that are provided in the automations in your resource bundle. That those to-do lists are going to show you what to do and when to engage with your customer. And then remember, with the hero product process here, it can take a while for someone to find that hero product. So keep this about them and keep it going at their pace, because when they find it, that excitement, that moment, there is nothing more valuable that you can create in this business than that aha moment when somebody goes, "Oh my God, I can't live without this. This is incredible. I have never experienced anything like this before. I want this for life." When that happens, that is magic. And we want to capture that, right? We want them to discover that. And so our whole process here is really just centered around helping them find that moment. And of course, the product that spurs it. All right. So this might look familiar. We talked about a sort of cyclical process here in the prospecting journey, where we're having conversations to the consultative shift and sharing and so on. What we're doing here is basically the same thing, except now we're doing this with a customer. And our hope is that they fall in love with the product. And that story that they develop is one that they want to share, right? That result that they got is something they're excited to share. And that, of course, makes being a brand partner an obvious next move. So what happens here is we're keeping our customer engaged toward their goal with the products that you've helped them pick out and your ongoing support with using those products. Then they're going to see a result at some point, or they're going to recognize that something is working. That is our aha moment, or aha product experience. So the whole goal here is you are engaging with them on a weekly basis on calls around accountability, around the steps that they're taking, how they're using product, what the auxiliary functions of their plan are, right? So it's not just, I'm taking a shot of Ningxia every day. I'm taking a shot of Ningxia every day and I'm walking 10,000 steps, right? Whatever that is, those things that you're going to be tracking and staying accountable to together, you're talking about those every week. And every week you're going to ask them how things are going, what's happening with them, what do they feel is moving differently, up, down, track some metrics. At some point they're going to go, man, or you're going to be able to see in the data that you're tracking and go, man, look at that difference. You slept 8 hours last night for the first time in a month. How does that feel? And they're like, oh my God. I knew I was feeling better, right? So you want to make sure that you're tracking this information so that you can help them see it as well, right? When they find that aha moment, they're very likely going to associate a hero product with it. And then you've got that opportunity to share. So you've got an opportunity when they find that hero product to show them how they can make a difference in the lives of others with their story, and maybe even get the cost of their products covered, or maybe build a business. I wouldn't go fully down that road. I would focus right here on what they're interested in, unless they are expressing interest in the business, in which case, of course, you can insert that here. Keep it relevant to the goals that they've shared with you. And then, of course, when they say, yeah, absolutely, if I feel this good, I know 20 people who have issues like this, and they could feel this good too. And I would feel amazing being able to help them get results and feel like I do now. And what I might be able to get the cost of my product covered. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Of course, I'm going to share and become a brand partner, right? That's what we're aiming for here. Again, not everybody's going to get there, but we want to create the best possible outcomes. So we're going to set them up for success where that's concerned. So that leads us here to the final automation stage of this pipeline. It's called the first 90 days. It's going to apply a follow-up plan that's going to make sure that you are staying in touch with your person, adding notes, doing all the things that need to be done in that first 90-day period after they have their product in hand. So in this first 90 days, you're going to have that kickoff call. On that kickoff call, you're going to go over the products that they have and the routine that they're going to follow. And of course, you're going to obviously set the expectation that you're going to be meeting on a weekly basis, brief check-in. It can be 10 minutes. It does not have to be long. You can really stress that. This doesn't have to be a long call. I'm here to help you. But really the goal of this is to make sure that everything is working well for you, and for you to have an accountability buddy, because that's the thing that really makes the difference. If we say we want to make a change in our life, we can say it until the cows come home, but we don't typically make those changes unless we have created an accountability structure so that there's someone else that knows what we ought to be doing to get that thing done. And then we can actually go get it done. Also on that kickoff call, you're going to be reviewing the Young Living website. Take them over to the Young Living website, have them click around, show them where that loyalty order is set up. You could take this opportunity to go ahead and make sure that their next one is set up to their liking to meet their goals. You can review any product education or resources that you've connected them to if they have any questions. And then you want to make sure on that kickoff call that you're defining the metrics that you're tracking, right? So based on their goal, what are the steps? So you can, before this call, and here's the thing, like if you aren't a health coach, it's okay. You don't have to be, because you don't have to come into this call knowing everything. You've got time to prepare for this call. Book a meeting from a meeting means you always know the next time you're going to be meeting with someone. And so you have a little bit of time to prepare ahead of time and go in with a plan, right? So you don't have to be an expert at anything to be able to do this. So before your meeting, obviously you're going to put together a little bit of a plan. Go to ChatGPT, go to your upline, find somebody in Young Living, whatever that looks like, and come up with a plan. if my plan was to lose 25 pounds, what are some of the things that I might try to do? And so you can gather some of those suggestions, and then you come to the call and you say, okay, you're taking Ningxia, awesome. So you want to make sure that you have, a shot of that first thing in the morning, put your, I don't know, your energy oil in the diffuser and do your video yoga class or something, right? And then you're going to walk, 10,000 steps a day. We're going to track that on your wearable. And then finally, we're going to be tracking how much sleep we're getting, right? So here are the things that we're going to track. And so every time we get together, it's not, hey, how are those products you purchased from me going for you? It's, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? How are you feeling? How are things different? Oh, wow, that looks better this week. Oh, wow, that doesn't look like it changed. Tell me more about what you're doing there, right? So define those metrics and agree on them together, right? You're not dictating this. You can say, all right, so here are some of the things I recommend that we track. And then they can agree to what they are going to do. And then you say, we're going to get together every week. We're just going to go over these, make sure that you're doing them, make any adjustments that are necessary, and so on, right? Another important thing you're going to do in the first 90 days after they've got their product and they've kind of gotten started with their routine, I want you, because you now know this person pretty well and you know their goals, I want you to connect them to someone else in Young Living. It does not have to be someone that's in your team, your upline, downline, whatever. This can be, and often I think should be, a cross-team friend. This is someone, just someone that they aren't associated with in any way, that you believe the two of them could be well connected, right? Maybe they have some things in common, they live in a similar area, they share similar goals perhaps, right? But you want to start setting social connections here, where they aren't just connected to you, but they are actually making friends with the broader community. From all of your calls, including the kickoff call and ongoing, you're going to be adding notes. What products are they using? What is the routine? What is their goal? What are the metrics we're tracking? And then also, because you are going into their, in this kickoff call, you're going into their account, write that order date down. Know their order date, so that when you are following up with them, you can be clear, maybe on one of your calls, it's, week 17 or whatever of your calls, you go and you look really quick at your, excuse me, at your background info. Perhaps this would be a great place to put your background information on when their order date is. You can say, oh, hey, by the way, let's go take a quick look at your loyalty order so we can make sure that we're good to go on that, right? Because you know that it's going to be processing soon. Then you're going to be engaging with weekly calls for a 90-day period. And on each of those weekly calls, we're going to be checking in on that goal status. What steps are they taking? The routine, are they following it? Do we need to adjust it? The product, how is the product working for them? Is that something we need to adjust on a future order? And then, of course, you're going to add your notes and then any of those additional to-dos for yourself as they're needed. So when they found their hero product, they're going to be sharing a story with you. They're going to go, oh my God, I figured that here's this thing that changed, right? Or you're going to point it out and then they're going to go, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? So after they've shared their hero story with you, you're going to congratulate them on their progress, right? And then ask for their permission to share their story so that others can be inspired by the progress that they've made, by the result that they've gotten. And if they say yes while you're there and they say, yeah, that'd be fine, you can share this with others, go ahead and ask them, who can we help together with your story? Who do you know that needs to hear this? And if they say, yes, I do know some people, then start working toward their first share and sign them up as a brand partner. Say, hey, this could be an opportunity for you to get the cost of your product covered. There's very little commitment or cost for you involved in terms of getting started as a brand partner. So let's just go ahead and get you signed up for that so that you can get the benefit, right? So I don't want to be the one that's signing them up. I want you to be able to sign them up so that you can get the benefit of doing so, right? So if they say yes, there are people that I know that need to hear this, go ahead and start working toward sharing with them and get them signed up as a brand partner. And if they say, no, I'm good, no big deal. Keep cheering them on and ask them what their next goal is, right? Or of course, if they haven't achieved the goal yet and they just have an aha moment, maybe this isn't the hero. Maybe it's just a thing that they like. It's a first story, but maybe it's not the story that's going to help them see a path forward with sharing. So make sure that you're keeping that weekly meeting, or if the goal is achieved, you can move them on to monthly care calls for a year. So you're meeting monthly as opposed to weekly. Or again, you could say, well, what goal do you want to reach next, right? Until they are excited to start sharing, right? So we're going to keep this going for 90 days or until they discover that hero product and say yes to sharing. And that aha moment, right? When they bring that up, oh my gosh, this thing happened. Oh my gosh, this product, that is the best opportunity that will ever exist to have a conversation about sharing Young Living and becoming a brand partner. Period. That moment. That is the best time, right? So once they have their product in hand, helping them find that hero product and that story is your number one goal, right? That's getting them a result. In order for them to find a hero product, you have helped them get a result. And so that's our goal, right? They need a story that they know impacted their life and a product that was central to it. And that is going to be the reason why they will eventually want to share. You just have to figure out which story it is, right? So start by collecting that story. If somebody says yes, right? If they're like, yeah, sure, you can share my story, have it written down or capture it on video. Or even better, if you have a team call, ask them to share their testimony on a team call, because then you've got you and your team who can really encourage them and drive home how meaningful it could be for them to share that story with the people that they know. And look, if they don't find a hero product in their first 90 days, that's okay. That's why we have this system in place. Sometimes we have to go cyclical with this. Sometimes we have to restart a process, and that's totally fine. You're just going to go back and reapply that first 90 days automation and follow the same steps, continuing to work with them, cheer them on, help them make sure that they're finding what they need so that they can find a story and a product that changed their life. So if you follow the system faithfully, you'll not only enroll more customers, you'll find that customers stick around for the long term and they start sharing. All right. So I'm so excited to see what you do with this. Let's pop over into Q&A and see if we have any questions that we can answer here today. Let me see. Okay. Haven't finished all the checklist to-dos, but they received their product. Should you finish those before starting the 90-day follow-up? So this would be the exception, right? So if you're working with flip kits, if somebody's walking away with product, then I would still complete the new customer checklist before starting the 90-day follow-up. So go ahead and check all of these things off, because these are all like, I think just about everything that you're going to be doing that is consequential on the new customer checklist is all about what you're doing at the point of sign up. It's that, add them to the groups, add them to the newsletters, make sure that they've confirmed that they're on them, taking them to the Young Living website, et cetera, et cetera. So all of those things you're going to do anyway right away. And then the only other thing that's there is to, set up a meeting for your kickoff call, that walkthrough of the products and the plan. So when you're at the point where you're setting up that appointment for the products and the plan, they're in the groups, they've confirmed that they are receiving the emails, they're, all of those things that we just talked about, then you go ahead and add the 90-day plan. Let's see, don't you set up the first loyalty order when they first order? Wondering if it would be worthwhile to talk about the PV assistant and those extra items. So yeah, no, that would be, so I rewound just a little bit here, because the sign up process and that that checklist, they happen at the same time, right? So technically, yeah, you are in the sharing to sign up until they've signed up, right? That's one checklist. And then you're in the new customer checklist. In the majority of scenarios, right? Where somebody is not, for instance, signing up for a free account and then setting up an appointment with you for another day where they actually complete their sign up process and set up their loyalty order. In the majority of cases, you're going to be completing both of those on the same day, right? So you're going to probably have, most of the new customer checklist filled out on the same day that you are setting up that first order and signing them up. Let's see, if they ordered the kit in person, what would you do in the first meeting? If they order the reset kit in person, I would still, I mean, I would set up the first meeting just as I would if they had ordered anything else, because sure, they're going to be doing the reset, but we aren't just going to let the reset do all of the work for us, right? So, so basically what you're going to want to do is on your first, like, let's sit down and have our kickoff call, our game plan call. And then you're going to be pointing them to the places in the reset resources that they've chosen. Maybe it's the Facebook group, or it could be their vault, to kind of show them where they could go. You're still going to have that call, and you're still going to follow the same checklist. It's just that you're going to be including perhaps whatever the reset whatever the reset tool is that you are going to be engaging with them. Will the to-dos from the follow-up plans show up with all of the other to-dos on the dashboard, or are they in another box like the to-dos for events? It's separate on the contact card. No, so it's going to be like all of your to-dos for today is what you see. And your to-dos for today are going to vary from contact to contact based on what stage of the pipeline they're in. And so it's just going to show up as your to-dos for that day. Right. Like, for instance, in the first 90 days, it's going to remind you once a week to do a couple of things. And so you're not going to see that in your to-do list until it's time to do it. Right. And then you get to check it off. And then, of course, yeah, there is a separate to-do space on the contacts card where you can see that on a particular contact. And yeah, if you have lots of pages of to-dos, understood, you might want to go and clean that up and work through those and get them done. The reason why we have set up the resource for this series as automations is because you don't want the to-dos to linger in that to-do list if you've moved on to a different stage in the pipeline with that customer or client, or that customer or lead, right? So if you aren't in relationship building anymore for that contact, you don't need those to-dos for that contact anymore. And so instead of applying a new follow-up plan, which doesn't remove the old follow-up plans to-dos, we're applying the next automation, which is going to remove the previous to-dos from the other lists, to-do lists. Okay, so if they say no to being a brand partner, do we shift to talk to them about their customer referral link so they can get product credit back, or just wait until they found a hero product that moves them to full brand partner? You could do both. I don't see a reason why you can't do both. It really has to do with why they would say no to being a brand partner. If it feels appropriate in the conversation, you could use something like, tell me more about that, right? Sometimes people will just go ahead and tell you, right? If they're just like, I'm good, and they're not really being open with you, depending on the nature of your relationship, you may leave it, you may press. It's kind of up to you and how you interact with that person and what you feel comfortable with. But I see no reason why you can't show them. Just go ahead and say, well, here's a customer referral link. If you ever decide that that's something you're interested in doing, I've got your back. But let's, head down. Let's get your goal accomplished, right? What do you want to work on together next, right? So some people have reasons, that they may not disclose. If you feel comfortable trying to explore those with them, by all means. But yeah, otherwise, I would just do both. Okay, how best to set this up for folks who signed up a month or two ago? Any ideas for folks who are currently inactive? So if you actually go to a lot of the content that we've been going over in this series actually comes from the Marketing Mastery Workshop. And there is actually a module in there where I talk about this idea of triage, like triaging existing customers or folks that maybe we didn't have, like, this wasn't how we initiated the process with them, how we go back. Essentially what you're doing in that case is you're treating them like leads. Start from the relationship building phase. It doesn't matter if they're an inactive customer or they signed up a month ago and you're not on the same page with them. Follow from the beginning of the process as though they're new. And of course, if they already have an order, right, if they're already a customer, then you're just going to be approaching that point of disclosure a little differently, right? So when they share with you whatever their struggle, their goal, their pain point is, you'll be able to then say, hey, if I could help set you up with a game plan so that you are able to achieve that with the products you have access to through Young Living, would you be open to it, right? You're following the same steps. You're just adjusting your language slightly to account for the fact that they are already signed up. And then, of course, you're just going to move straight into that, pretending sign up process, right? We know that they have ordered before, so they're not going to be a new customer, but we are going to want to go in and make sure that they are creating a loyalty order, that they know that this is a 90-day or longer commitment to get their result, etc. Right? All right, Connie says, I'm new to the GetOiling website. Are these checklists in my account? So Julie actually pasted here in the chat, and this should be in your email as well. There is a resource bundle. If you click that, you'll be able to import these automations into your account, and then those checklists will be there for you to apply to those contacts. Can you go over how to set up a free account for someone? So if you are, it's on the Young Living website, and this is specific to only a couple of markets. I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm not. Let me see if I can find this real quick. We talked about this a while back with the updates that they put into the website a couple of years ago now. They created this new opportunity. Let me see if I've got continue without a bundle. Forgive me, I'm just looking at their website here real quick. Basically, there's a way, if you send them your link, they can sign up, right? If they go to click the little, let me see, the little login person. Yeah, here we go. Let me show you this real quick. This is what it looks like. Obviously, you will need to have sent them to your Young Living link, right? So this is gonna have your, your specific Young Living link. If they click this guy right here, it's the sign-in page, but if they're new to Young Living, they can click create an account. And I know this is true in the US market, and I'm not sure where else in the world this is true, but in some cases, that is something that you can do. So they can create an account right there. They do not have to purchase anything to create that account. You cannot tell what a customer is ordering unless you are on these calls with them and you are present with them and you're taking those notes. Young Living doesn't give you a report of that. This is something that your customer would need to be willing to share with you. And of course, if the context is, I am working with you toward a goal, I am here to support you. So here's the products I'm recommending. Let's take a look at this together. Then that disclosure is going to be there. This isn't something you're automatically going to be able to see for your customers though. Where do I find the link for a certain page? So Flo, do you mean like if you wanted to share a link to a page on your website, for instance? Let me know in the chat if that's what you're asking, and I can definitely show you. And the resource bundles, I can go ahead and show you that real quick. Let me see. And our resource bundles, when you claim your resource bundles, if you want to see the resource bundle, and what was in it, that's going to be in your content library under resource bundles. And then you can click here on my claimed, and you can see what you have claimed. So like right here, here's our lead to customer pipeline. If I click it, I can actually go and see what all was in it. And then I can go and view those resources. Right? So these are all of the automations and follow-up plans included in that particular resource. Now, to your point, okay, thank you for answering that, Flo. If you wanted to share a specific page with someone from your website, you go to pages, and then you find the page that you want to share. And then maybe it's this one right here. You can go to copy link, and then this link you can paste somewhere. Or you can, you can send it to someone. You can link it somewhere else. You can also hit view and then grab the link from up here in the address bar. That is the other option there. Okay, let me see. Do we have any other questions? Great questions today, you guys. Or is there anything that you would like to talk through or see in the last few minutes that we have here? Should I have their member ID before I import? I think that might have been, is that a follow-up to a previous conversation? I think Julie was handling that. I would need a little context to address that. See, I hope you guys are able to come over and check this out in your own system. Make sure that you are logged in to GetOiling. Click that link that we sent you in the email earlier, or the one that is in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or of course, in the chat here if you're live on Zoom. We do have this resource bundle for you to claim. And all of these, again, these are automations that you're claiming, and that's going to allow you to move through to different stages here. Right? If you get to this consultative shift and you ask, hey, if I could show you a way to work on that and get a result on that, et cetera, and they say, you know, I'm actually working with a doctor on that, so I think I'm good, then you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what else you might be able to help with. So you need to return to relationship building. We are using automations to do this because we don't want to have any more of these to-dos if we're moving back here, right? Or if someone has moved through the process quickly. In one case, we don't need the redundancy and so on. So you'll keep your to-do list clean of anything that you may have already done or that's no longer relevant if you're applying automations. And just a quick recap here, if we go to our contacts, and let me go ahead and just let me find a contact in here that we can use. Perfect. Here we go. So this person I can see is a Young Living lead. And right now I am in the consultative shift phase because I have this to do, right? I'm going to be sending them I've been thinking about what you shared with me question. So maybe I did that and I've checked these off, right? I've added notes, I've researched, and now it's time for me to move into another follow-up plan, but I'm not going to use a follow-up plan. I'm going to go up here to automations because I want to remove the to-dos that I don't need. So the consultative shift I have completed, and now I'm going to find that sharing to sign up. I'm going to run that. That's going to give me new to-dos. And you'll notice I still have the same volume of things to do here. Right? And that's because it removed the stuff that I don't need to do anymore, right? So that keeps it nice and simple for you. Be adding these as automations, not as follow-up plans, so that you don't have the redundancies in your to-do list. All right, what are the blue numbers relating to? Oh, thanks for that question, Connie. Yeah, so throughout this process, all of these follow-up plans have coaching activities tied to them. Where they are appropriate. So right here, enrolling a new member on loyalty rewards is 12 points for your digital upline coach. And so when you check this off, you'll automatically make that progress with your digital upline coach. So you'll see that that progress move ahead on your coach when you do that. That's what those blue numbers are. And you can go in, and there's a reason why the follow-up plans are included alongside the automations. You could go in and edit those follow-up plans to make modifications to your liking as well. Let me see. Can you revisit ideas of how to reach out for an inactive customer? So Stacy, what I would do for an inactive customer is I would treat them like a lead. I would go back to the relationship building. So the training that we did in the first week of this series on building relationships, that's what you're going to do. You're going to show up and be a good friend. You're going to ask questions. You're going to be present, and you're going to look for opportunities to serve. You're just going to be skipping the steps of making them understand that Young Living is awesome because they already know that, or they did at one point, but you're basically starting from the beginning. So it's really not that different. At any point, you're going to be showing up consistently to be a good friend, to connect with them, and to look for opportunities to serve. And then where you see that opportunity, you're going to switch just again through the same process. You're going to skip a couple of steps though, because you don't have to actually sign them up, but you will go into their order with them and make sure that they've got the correct items in, right? Setting up their loyalty order, maybe getting them reoriented with things. Really just treat them like a lead, and then treat them like a new customer. Because essentially what we're doing here is giving them the experience that maybe we didn't know we could give before, but now you can. So you can do this with your leads. You can definitely do this with your customers as well. But the point is, you got to get out there and get it done. You got to start those conversations. At minimum, I recommend initiating 5 of these conversations every day. If you do that every day, you will always have people in the process that you're communicating with, and you will have enough people who are ready enough to say yes when you hear that point of disclosure, when you hear that they are interested in solving a problem and they're sharing that with you. You have the opportunity to come back and say, hey, I could help you with that. Do you want to learn how? And then you move on with sharing, right? Oh, thank you, Connie. We really appreciate you. This was created for you guys. This is created for brand partners to be able to be their absolute best at what they do. We're here to help you get oils into every home. So thank you guys for being here. We will be back next week with a special guest training. Please don't miss next week. Keep an eye out on your email. There's some really exciting stuff coming your way. Tiffany's actually going to be here along with Jessica to train next week. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. We'll be back next week, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Take care, everybody.